And Russia's Tass news agency, who had a narrow escape from a mortar attack in Syria, returned to Moscow. Also in our headlines this hour, the surviving pilot of the Russian bomber jet that was shot down on Tuesday insists Turkey gave no warning before opening fire. We hear his first-hand account. And there's backlash from European politicians over Turkey's downing of that Russian military jet. All ahead this hour. Just gone midday here in the Russian capital on Thursday, the 26th of November. My name's Ewan O'Neill. This is RT International. The journalists who came under attack in Syria this week have returned back to Russia safely. Among them are correspondents from RT International and RT Arabic. Daniel Bushell spoke with them shortly after their plane landed in Moscow.
Well, wonderful to see them safe and sound. Our colleagues, after being injured, it's great to see that they're doing well. I've spoken to them, they're fine. Let's ask them, Roma first, how are you feeling?
Well, I still have a bit of ringing in my ears, still I can hear from my left ear really well, but it's getting better and better every hour. It happened a few days ago. We were treated at a medical facility back in Syria at Russian air base, and they did all they could, and I guess our treatment will continue now in Moscow. Very happy to be home. Can't wait to see my family. That was the hardest thing to do, is to let my family know what happened to me, and that was even more scary than you know, the fact what happened to us itself, to tell our family what had happened. Thankfully, we had a chance to let them know, you know, before the news came out.
Sargon, great to see you.
Thank you.
Glad to see that you're okay. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. I just want to thank our medicine group in Hamim Air Base and the Syrian army, the guys who saved our lives. For 2 hours they work with us. Good.
Do you know who attacked you?
Well, we were attacked from an opposite mountain from where we were. That place is still controlled by the international terrorist groups. It's the town of Salma. We know it's controlled by the Al-Nusra Front. The explosion was quite loud, and we did receive a concussion. Sargon here, he still has a piece of shrapnel in his body. We were clearly marked as journalists in accordance.
Attack journalists.
We were exactly.
Yes.
We were clearly marked in accordance with the Geneva Convention. We were wearing blue flak jackets, blue helmets, and we were clearly visible from the opposite side when they were shooting at us.
You know, it's not clear war, so we cannot understand. They targeted us. We know that. We saw them because they shoot at first the first rocket, and then the second one, and then third, fourth, and fifth one. When we're in the area. And
I also want to add that as soon as the news came out about us being shot in Syria, so-called opposition groups in Syria posted our photos online.
Yes.
Right away with the words of, you know, kill them. What else?
We'll find you.
We'll find you. So we were threatened after we were shot at. We were additionally threatened by local terrorist groups or international terrorist groups, and our pictures are now posted online everywhere with words, you know, kill these guys.
Well, a harrowing experience there. We can now welcome William Whiteman, RT correspondent, also into the studio to discuss more about what occurred there. William, indeed, just tell us about this kind of group. Who's believed to have been behind this?
Well, the thing is that there's a various number of rebel groups who were operating in this area. They include the Turkmen, the rebel militia of Turkmen. These guys are the ones who shot down, well, they didn't shoot down, they machine gunned the pilots as they were parachuting to safety. As well as that, there's also, according to Russia, there's Islamic State in the area. who obviously carried out the attacks in Paris, attacks in Beirut recently. They're branching out from Syria, taking the fight to other countries. As well, there's al-Nusra, the al-Qaeda affiliate in Syria. And then, too, we also have the Free Syrian Army, the so-called moderate opposition group, which is operating in the area as well.
We've heard many times from the US that there are no Islamic State fighters in the region, only moderate forces. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, if you believe that there are no ISIS fighters there, as Russia is saying, it's still very, very difficult to distinguish between so-called good guy, moderate groups, and then bad guys, these more aggressive jihadist sort of organizations. And even the US will admit this, so we can take a look at that now.
So-called moderate opposition needs to be part of a Syrian political future.
We're also supporting a moderate opposition in Syria that can help us in this effort.
Nusra Front, which is an al-Qaeda affiliate, has absorbed, as have other smaller groups, have absorbed a number of what we would have previously called the moderate opposition.
I think in Syria, to try to separate the good guys from the bad guys is really a fool's game. There are various groups. I think there are well over 100 different rebel groups operating in Syria. You have ISIS, you have various other fundamentalist Islamist groups fighting in Syria.
Just to talk about where this occurred, the region, it's also pretty much the same area where the Russian fighter jet was downed, and then, as we were talking about, a rescue helicopter jet was shot down. A video emerged as well showing a rebel group firing a US-made weapon at a helicopter. It's not verified which helicopter, but you can clearly see in that video the US-made weapon. Why is that?
Well, I mean, the US has admitted several times that they are arming the rebels, and then you have to look at the porous nature of the rebel alliance. I mean, these weapons are very widely dispersed amongst them. We can take a look at a clip here now of the US admitting that they are arming the rebels.
Everybody acknowledges that there were issues and challenges with respect to the training aspect of some of these moderate opposition fighters. But what has proven effective in the past, particularly in Syria, has been the equipping part of training and equipping.
You know, we have, I mean, there's any number of ways. I mean, first of all, we have supplied some of the Syrian forces that are fighting ISIL in northern Syria. We talked about that before.
Just to talk more about what we're seeing this morning when you were here, William, in the studio, Rahman and Sargon, our correspondents here, returning after that attack in Syria. They're back now on Russian soil, back safe in Moscow. Just to bring us up to date, they're not the only journalists, indeed, at our channel who received threats, because they said they received threats even after that attack as well, were they?
Yeah, well, I mean, as well, our own Murad Gazdia from RT International, he also received threats from Syrian opposition forces and Syrian opposition supporters while he was in Syria. I believe that he's left the country now, but I think he's still receiving these kind of threats.
Let's take a look if we can. It's a worrying trend.
As my stay in Syria progressed, I got more and more death threats. It wasn't just the Islamic State, it was Syrian opposition as well. Al-Qaeda in Syria, for example, they were after my details, where I lived, you know, what I did back home in Moscow. Goodness knows, but yeah, certainly there's a lot of them online, and they're very vocal.
Well, the recent incident of RT journalists coming under fire was widely discussed on social media as well. Yet the massive support and well-wishing comments were also tainted by some distressing remarks, just like this one, an apparent death wish, directed again at RT correspondent Murad Gazdia. As you just saw, you'd perhaps expect a comment like this from a terrorist or at least a radical. So who did post it? Well, the man's name is apparently Abdurrahman Harkush, and he describes himself as a moderate rebel fighter and a teacher. Yet right under that description, he adds a sort of motto that's a direct threat to those who support the Syrian government and Russia. In his tweet, he comments on the downing of the Russian jet by Turkey and accuses Moscow of provoking the move. And in another post, he mocks the tragedy with pictures and captions like the ones you're looking at now. William's here still in the studio with me. William, as we were just talking about, there are lots of threats, including from rebels against journalists here in this area, and also attacks have we seen. Any reaction to that from human rights organisations, for instance?
Well, I mean, in terms of human rights organisations reacting to the deaths of journalists, I think they have been quite outspoken. 79 journalists have been killed so far since the conflict started in 2011. But regarding the threats to our journalists, both physical and then also on the internet as well, I mean, we've asked various rights organisations for their response to this. We are yet to hear anything from them, but the UN did say that they are concerned by what has been happening.
OK. Earlier I spoke to Daniel Patrick Welsh, writer and political analyst, on why the Syrian rebels target journalists. He says the militants are angry at being exposed by the press.
They target journalists because journalists are exposing who they really are. They find out that they're not Syrian, they're not moderate, and they're not rebels. They are recruits. They're people who are recruited from the vast terrorist network, from the global business of militarized jihad. It's a mess created by the U.S. and its lackeys' failure to distinguish between these two goals, which is, on the one hand, fighting terror, which they helped create, and the other to fight Assad.
Well, those were the thoughts of writer and political analyst Daniel Patrick Welsh. William Whiteman, RT correspondent, is also in here with me. Thank you very much for joining us this hour. Lots more news coming up after this short break.